Good morning. How are you? Well, here we are. I'm not going to apologize for not having been on here for a while. Um, but look what's happened. I have to show you the new study. Look at that. Um, Here I am with some words in my new study. It's very good. Look, I had thought I need to do something with this light because it looks like it's kind of, a little halo above my head. Nothing could be further from the truth. I'm going to have a coffee, and I thought I'd just log on and have a bit of a chat with you because I haven't done that for a while, and that's because there's been lots of things going on, I suppose. But here I am, and here's the new study with the limited edition blue um, IKEA Billy bookcases. Amazing. If you were IKEA, how would you sell things to people who already had Billy bookcases? What you would do is you would tell them that this was a limited edition and that they had to get it now. And people who were thinking about revamping their study would think, "Oh, I best get there now and get on with this." Then, so this blue kind of developed the whole theme of the room. And I've been online with one or two people who said it looks dark, and it does look dark, and I'm cool with that. I'm cool with that. It makes my hair stand out, my grey hair stand out all the more better for the darkness. But look at the shelves; they're all in line, and it's all very lovely. Capitalism and rampant capitalism and consumerism with my new Billy bookcases, and I've got new floor, and you can't see that. It's all very nice, and it's one of those things, isn't it? I haven't planned to say anything in particular this morning. I just knew that I needed to get back online and kind of and and have a chat with myself, as I often see this. This is in my head. This is what this is. It's often it's a bit of a journaling experience, I suppose. I'm just putting forth what I'm thinking, but also sometimes talking about stuff, saying stuff out loud is thinking in itself. And I just wondered where I was at the moment, not having some existential crisis or anything, but I did just wonder where I was at. Um, because I work in an environment, as you know, I work in a university, and it's very cyclical, and that's nice in a way. It's very nice that it's cyclical. But what it means is it means, and I'm not looking for sympathy when I say this, there are some quite extreme peaks and some extreme troughs. And towards the end of the academic year, there's a relatively speaking, relative in terms of my role, there's a significant peak. And now in some ways, a significant trough where things become uh, nothing. Suddenly, the urgency kind of falls away. There are still important things to do, but they could be done tomorrow. I need to start planning lectures and modules stuff for next year. But like, hey, it's June. Do you know what I mean? And there's still bits and pieces going on and that kind of thing. But so it's quite interesting from that perspective. But what that means is it's a great opportunity to take stock, and I think that's important. And I think in life, sometimes we're not given the opportunity to take stock sufficiently. And you do, don't you, about people. Bill Gates is famous for this. There are other people famous for this who take themselves off for a week to a cabin in the woods for a period of time over the summer to just take stock and to dream up new dreams and think about new ideas. And I think that's really important. And I think Bill Gates does it on his own. He leaves his family behind and off he goes. Um, I find I've just been away for the weekend, and I find that going away for the weekend helps me helps me stop. Being away for the weekend, and I've slept a lot, to be honest, and just generally finished off reading a few books that were half read, and just thought about priorities for the year ahead, which is really important. I suppose just thinking back through things that I've gone through and how it links to productivity or thinking about kind of self care and well being. There are a few things that have gone on. It's interesting because I tend to reflect on the whole year around about now. Lots of people do it at the end of the calendar year, but for me, because of working in academia, I kind of reflect on the year around about now, or across the summer at least, because that's kind of how my year works these days. And the study, so we've had the revamp of the study. You should go back to that. And there's something about you have to play with ideas, don't you? You have to play with ideas, get things wrong in order to come up with the solution to the uh, conundrum rather than problem. Because my study, just using this as an example, my study was never a problem. It functioned really well, but it was never quite how I wanted it. There were things that I didn't like about it, and it was revamped a few times, played around with a few times, till the point where it was like, right now, what we've been in this house a year and a half is like, right now, I know what I want to do with the study. And I think we have to think about our self-care and our productivity, our well-being in those kind of terms. We have to play around with things. The problem is we expect results immediately, and life and getting things as right as we possibly can, because we never get things 100% right. I don't think we have to tolerate the niggles. We have to tolerate the problems. We have to just accept that there are going to be problems. So we have to accept some of that. So this will not be perfect as time emerges. At the minute, it feels very perfect. Everything seems to be in the right place, and that's only come from operating in the space. So just taking that to one side, some of you will know that I was diagnosed with atrial fibrillation um, about a year ago. Well, coming up to a year, about 10 months ago, and put on beta blockers to try and regulate my heart rate, and that really took its toll on me, because beta blockers, well, I think anyway, and from talking to other people, it's still quite a harsh drug. They sap your energy. They make you feel very tired and lethargic. And I was already good at being tired. I was already good at the afternoon snooze. I was already like that. Um, and one of the great realizations of this weekend away that I've just had was thinking about this diagnosis and thinking about the fact that at 56 it's not going to change. Probably, I'm going to have a little procedure done that could write the atrial fibrillation AF. I've had it before, it worked, and then it didn't work. So I could do that. It's not a huge problem. This AF, lots of people live with it and live forever, like Highlander. Um, so it's not so much of a problem really, um, but you have to learn to live with it. There's a stoic thing, if ever there was one. It's not things that causes problems, our judgment of things. So I've spent the last year, because one of the things that I have to try and not do is elevate my heart rate too much. Because I'm on the beta blockers, that reduces your heart rate. So it's hard to elevate my heart rate because the beta blockers try and stop that. But also, if I'm elevating my heart rate to 120, 140, that's an adjusted heart rate. Well, getting into the complications of the thing, it's probably more like 180 or whatever, realistically. Um, so I've had to reevaluate, kind of, and this weekend was a great revelation. So great revelation to me around that, and I'm going to employ those tactics. So the fitness side of my well-being strategy kind of has took a bit of a nosedive over the last year, and I've put a bit of weight on, and I'm working on that with the Zoe thing, as I've told you before, and that's going really well, feeling really good on that, but not feeling fit in that physical sense. And the point I'm getting to is we have to try and seize these opportunities. We have to try and see these things as opportunities. Yeah, it's the classic SWOT analysis, isn't it? um, What are my strengths? Well, I know what I'm doing with this kind of stuff. What are my weaknesses? Well, I've got AF. What are the threats? Well, the threats are that I don't do anything, I suppose, and descend into being quite unfit. The opportunity is to do things in a different way. And I think, again, so this goes back to the study. I've operated in the space, and now I've changed the space. Not radically, it probably doesn't look much different to you, except everything's blue rather than whatever color it was before, white and wood colored. Um, And it's the same with the exercise. I've had to play in the space. I've had to play in the space for the last 10 months to figure out how to make the space work as an opportunity. Um, Time will tell. I may still be playing in the space, and that's the thing, isn't it? Did I mention this before? That's the thing. We expect to be able to make these decisions quickly. I could have bought a whole load of new bookcases and bought a whole load of new bits and bobs and stuff and done this the month after we arrived here in this house. I didn't. I operated in the space, and this space, I feel, will be better as a consequence. My exercise regime that's had to be because I was a runner. Well, I run, and I would go on epic long bike rides and stuff, and I would do all that, and I can't do that. Well, I should. I, I could do it probably, but the advice is not to. So I have to try and reevaluate that. But I've had to operate in the space. I've had to operate in the space. So it's a bit like that with your productivity. If you're going to move to into a planning strategy, if you're going to move into strategizing your planning, you will have to spend some time playing in the space, reading about. I've read lots about AF. I read a lot about office or study design. I had to read a lot about AF and exercise in relation to AF and the risks and the benefits and those kind of things, and thinking about the cold water therapy and how that kind of works with somebody with AF, doing all those kind of things and operate in the space. So if you're starting to think, right, I'm going to start planning my days regularly, I'm going to start planning my days every day, and I'm going to make sure this Friday is the most important day of next week, and all those kind of things, then you have to operate in the space and probably get it wrong a few times before you will start to get it right and pay dividends. And that's difficult. And that's where the problem comes with all of this productivity, self care, and well being. It's difficult because you're not going to get it right straight away. You're going to get it wrong. It's not going to go well. You're going to try a whole bunch of things and you're going to think, well, that didn't get me any further forward, but it did. Because in trying a whole bunch of things and realizing that didn't get you any further forward, you can dismiss that thing as the thing that works for you, or you're not employing the thing in the right way, or whatever it is. So we have to operate in the space. We have to operate in the space for a good period of time. And I'm gonna make an argument here that when you try to establish a new habit, a new approach to something, you're in this for at least 3 months. And that's the shortest period of time you need to be in it for. At the 3 month point, you need to reevaluate and think, what have I achieved in those 3 months? And you might think, not a lot. So what have I learned from those 3 months? Right, what am I going to do for the next 3 months? And on you go in a cycle. So there's no quick fixes. You've got to operate in the environment to figure out how you can operate in the environment successfully. So there you go. So it's good to be talking to you. 9:15, bit late, drinking my coffee. Um, uh, that's it. Operate in the space. Accept that it's not going to be an instant fix. Accept that you're in whatever change you're making, you're in it for about 3 months minimum. And even then, you might have to invest longer. And take it from there. And we'll see you soon. Take care.